Good morning. I am coming to you from my new van. It happened. Wow. And my diesel heater doesn't work at the moment, so I have an electric blanket on that I'm warming myself up on in this very cool 30-some degree morning. It's one of the things I'm going to work on as I get to know this gorgeous van over the next couple of months before I take her on the road full time, this summer, fall, depending on what summer plans look like for my daughter. Probably fall, but we'll see. I've told her that I'm going to let her lead whatever her plans are after high school, and we will figure out how to make them a reality. So yeah, it's been really, really neat to know where I'm going to live, to have my home here. And it's funny because I was thinking about, I have this on the 11th of January, my next recorded workshop is actually on balance in the body. So the month of January, the theme is getting to know your body and healing from the inside out. And so the 11th, we're going to cover body balance. And one of the things I've been working on over the last few months is I tend to run cold. So I've actually been intentionally being with cold spaces and then working on upregulating my temperature. So how can I energetically turn up the thermostat a little bit? So I'm going to actually start there this morning. And I've entered into my, ooh, that feels really good. I've entered into my home. So I have this exercise that I wrote in my book about coming home. Standing at the threshold, you open the door, maybe it's a cottage in the woods, whatever that home feels like it needs to be right now. And so I can now go to that home really easily, like that. And in that home, there's a caretaker that has kind of been showing me the ropes, are working side by side with me, takes care of things when I'm away. It's that part of our body that runs on autopilot, right? There's a part of us that's watching out for ourselves, that's taking care of things. But just like if you're away too long, right, it's still your home. So it's kind of like these moments where you get to come back. And winter is just such a perfect time to come back home. So I'm going to pop back in, and I'm seeing an old school thermostat, which is really funny. It's like, those old ones from the 80s and 90s that you just turned the dial? That's what the thermostat looks like. That tells me it needs an upgrade, by the way. So I'm just checking in, and that is what I'm getting, is it's time for an upgrade to that one. And so I'm just sending it up to my upgrade center. My upgrade center is a place where I've got light, and really I take things that are maybe outmoded or outdated programs that I have. They could be physical programs, emotional programs, mental, or all the above. I don't limit because, frankly, it's all interconnected. Neurons that fire together, wire together, right? So the more that you can amalgamate these things and send them up as a holistic program and receive them back, the less isolated your healing work is. And when our healing work is isolated, we take one part, but then basically because the other neurons are still firing together, they just rebuild that connection. They're like, wait, we're missing a part that we had before. Let's just put that one back in. And so healing can be much more easeful. Growth can be much more rapid when we just take the time to let the whole program come together. And it can be really easy and really quick. So I just saw that thermostat. I looked at it and I'm like, gosh, this is really old. It even has a brand on it. I'm seeing Honeywell, which I think is hilarious. Sorry, guys. I must be an old memory that I'm conjuring up for this or something else. But anyways, let's go ahead and take that and upgrade it. Oh my gosh, that feels so good. It's coming back down. And now on the wall, I'm seeing this beautiful electronic system. I can have home and away temps. Fabulous. Okay, so now we have the core system upgraded. I've had temperature regulation issues since I was a kid, and what I'm just getting right now is I have just put in a new system that's going to help me regulate more effectively. So you are seeing this unfold live. I'm getting chills. I'm really getting a lot of energy movement on my lower calves and ankles, which is my flexibility, adaptability, agility to deal with my environment. So our body tends to have energy constrictions that relate to metaphorical concepts. So our feet move us through the world, right? Our ankles are our flexibility at dealing with, think of it as if you were hiking or bouldering on a path. You've got to have that agility to deal with a rocky ground so you can keep that sure footing. So it's how we deal with the situations and circumstances around us, our adaptability with that. Our shins, like think of how you use shins, right? If you're a runner, right? That's power, that's force, that's strength. You go up to the thighs. The thighs represent so many different things, right? It's not only the kind of force behind that legs and that connection to our glutes and all of that, but it's also our hips. It's our mothering. It's our like ability to carry things, right? We hold that in our thighs. Our thighs are powerhouses for that. And you move up through the body, and the different parts of our body kind of can represent different types of experiences, beliefs, energies that we've stored. So for instance, if you have problems in the lower back, that often means your ability to support yourself. Financial things can be associated with the back. Your kidneys are connected to the lower back, and kidneys are associated with things like worry, that type of thing. So um, worry, anxiety. I merge those together. Technically, in traditional Chinese medicine, they separate those, but worry is basically a future focused anxiety, if that makes sense. What will happen? What could go wrong? And so they're kind of connected. Anxiety to me is a little bit more of a nervous system state that crosses many different emotions. And so I kind of separate them out or merge them together, whatever feels good in the moment. But anyways, so all these parts of our bodies can represent different modes that we're operating in. And so when I feel energy move or tingle or shift or activate in certain parts of my body, it can be, not always is, but can be an indicator of where I'm seeing things open up for me in the world. It makes complete sense that my ankles would be connected to my adaptability at dealing with different temperature situations, since I have had an issue with temperature regulation since I was a kid. So now that I have this brand fancy new thermostat, I'm so excited. We're now going to turn up that temperature a little bit because I'm feeling called to do that. And it currently looks like, it's interesting, it's actually the temperature's gravitating between a couple different things. I see 67 on there, I see 73, and then I see 76. And so what I'm doing is I'm gonna give it a moment to settle. And what that tells me when I see a lot of flickering back and forth is veils. So maybe I have multiple stories that are superimposing on each other. If you are ever in your visualization world and you see figures or information kind of go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, like, is it that or is it that? What often is happening is you have multiple stories or multiple experiences that are both trying to get your attention at the same time. So what we do is we're just going to remove the veil. And that felt really good. I have a very simple process for removing the veil. I just take a finger and I gently touch the top corner of that veil. I watch that curtain fall down. It dissolves into golden dust and I move forward. So this is how I really easily remove illusions or veils, or just ask things to kind of step out of the way or heal themselves so that I can get to maybe more of a root. So this is a way, if you feel like you're stuck and can't quite see the root or know how to proceed forward, just tap the corner of the veil and see if it falls. Oftentimes the curtain will just fall down and I'm getting, just so much movement now. This is not just for me. This is a lot of movement. This feels like somebody watching this is just going around, touching their finger to things. Things are falling. Let it go. This is so yummy. I love it. Okay, so now it's settling on 67. Thank you. Thank you. So my body was like perceiving itself as a warmer temperature than it was, and then that's what was causing the internal temperature to be so cold. So we're going to settle at that. I'd like to turn it up. Is that what I'm being called to do right now? No. Am I being called to get comfortable at 67? Yes. Interesting. So it's not that I'm meant to turn up my thermostat now. I'm meant to get comfortable at different temperatures. Okay, so now I see the outdoor temperature of 36. It's roughly what it is right now. And there's a fire around me just warming the area. And I am good. I am good being cold. I am warm, even though it is cold around me. And there's a settling. A belief that I'm warm, even though it's cold around me. My tolerance at dealing with different temperature variations is going up. This is so good. Not what I expected this morning, but maybe it was. I'm just letting this settle down. Back of my head, I can still feel a little tension, so I'm just going to ask for some support there. I feel some spirits behind me, and I'm just letting them kind of coax it out. Sometimes it's easier to just let it be taken care of. And that was the theme of the week, which is trust. And that's what I think we're going to talk about today and explore. Trust has been a big thing I've been working on over the last, I don't know, a couple months, longer than that. Remember how I told you guys it started with, reducing hesitancy? Well, actually, if I rewind, it started with, I want to calm this freneticism down in my body and the push-pull related to tasks or work, because I had this old paradigm around that. And then it moved a little bit deeper and said, okay, I recognize the level of hesitancy or over-analysis or over-investment in, am I making the wrong decision, right? That was kind of at the root of that. And so we're working on that. And then over the last, it's now evolved to trust. Because if I trust that universal source energy has my back, if I trust that I know when I'm in alignment and when I can take those big risks and move, and when it's not in alignment and so I take a different direction, right? If I trust that even if I misstep along the way, that I can call back in that alignment at any time and it will realign around me and reassemble, then basically the moves I make, there's just not nearly as much at stake or at risk. And when I can release that, I can start to move more fluidly through life. So at the root of all that is trust. So it feels like I'm taking a kind of a surface level thing, desire I had, symptom I was having, and I've just been getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into what it means. And really over the last several, probably month or two, I've been focused on trust. What does it mean to really trust? And this van was an act of trust. So I had another van come up on, I'm going to just recap the story a little bit, because gosh, so much has happened in a week. I had another van come up on, maybe the 30th of December. And I don't remember if I talked to you guys about it last week. And I got the nudge to order the checks from my bank. Like, get them in the mail and get them expedited. And don't worry about where you're going to deposit them or how you're going to get the money out to whoever you need to buy it from. The point is to get the money into your hands. I have an online bank. And so I knew that the cashier's check whole thing would end up being a multi-step process. And I had a lot of worry, or I don't even want to say worry, a lot of anxiety around how I was going to, no, actually I didn't, because I had way less anxiety than I used to. I had some lingering anxiety. That feels much more honest. I had some lingering anxiety about what I was going to do to deposit it to get the money into another cashier's check to be able to buy a van. So if you guys remember, the first van that came up, I broke my brokerage accounts. The second van that came up, I ordered the cashier's checks for my bank. So it's like every van I've like taken another step to figure out how I was going to transact business and really kind of buy my next home. And that will give me the freedom to essentially not have to worry. I mean, like, I'm calling in abundance in so many different ways than I used to. I'm basically zooming out my definition of what it means to be financially abundant. And I recognize that at some points in my life, it's going to mean a lot of wealth. And other times in my life, it's actually going to be a lot of other gifts and blessings coming my way that have monetary value that did not cost a lot, which is also a gift of wealth from the universe. So I'm really learning to hold the definition of abundance and wealth much, much more loosely, and actually have forged a deeper and deeper relationship with money as an energetic being in a beautiful way, and healed a lot of old wounds. And I'm continuing to deepen that relationship now as I go through, my own process of working through my own relationship with money. But anyways, I had these checks that just felt important for someone. And basically, I also want to tell you guys money's here right now. So in the last week, my coach and I worked to bring money into my field and to personify money, the spirit of money. And so it wasn't just cold green dollars. And what ended up revealing itself as I kind of removed blocks and layers. And I love working with my coach because she lets me really she'll kind of take me somewhere, and then I'm like, okay, I'm feeling called to go here instead of there, and so now we'll go there. And so there's so many different ways to get to what you need to do, which is why I tell people, when you're listening to a guided meditation from me, grab the piece of it that resonates and then let your mind run, because you are a powerful energy worker. You do not need to follow me step by step by step. And it's the same with my coach. She recognizes I'm a powerful energy worker. it's more like she's leaving breadcrumbs or helping me get unstuck, but really it's me, right? I'm guiding that path. And we've been working together now for close to 6 months. We just started our 6th month together out of a 12-month journey we've been on, and worth every, I mean, I just love, love, love. I want to say thank you, Yannicka, if you're watching this. Yannicka lives the way I live, meaning spirit-led, intuitive-led, not afraid to say, oh, we're going to go left instead of right today, because of X, Y, and Z, right? Because that's what I'm feeling. And she, because of that, she's been able to hold a container that I can grow in rapidly. And I haven't always had that. So it's been beautiful to know we've been working together for 5 months now. We're just starting our 6th month. And I'm still getting so much beautiful growth from that experience. And that is how I'm able to show up this way into life, and then also to help you guys. I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled, and thank you, Yannicka, for all that you do, and for who you are, and how you live. It's how you show up in this world, because that's what I'm getting the most benefit from, is that you're showing up in the world the way I intend to show up in the world every day when I wake up in the morning. And it's your own nuance of that, and it's her own nuance, and it's my nuance, and it's guys' your nuance of that. But being with people who have a similar wavelength, but maybe it shows up differently, is actually incredibly complimentary, because they have different perspectives that help you grow, see the other side of the coin, but still the overall wavelength of showing up in the world that way, spirit-led, energy-led, right? I am a being of consciousness and energy having a human experience. Ends up opening up so many doors to easeful abundance and easeful growth. But I'm getting distracted, so we're going to go back to what we're talking about, the story of the van. Okay, so got the checks delivered from the van and had to figure out what I'm going to do with them, but just kept hearing a voice in my head say, don't worry about it, it's going to work out. So all of a sudden, December 31st, I did that actually. So December 31st, I ordered that. I had them expedited. It wasn't supposed to be here until Tuesday. And then January 2nd, a van came up. That van, by the way, that I had called the checks in for had sold. It sold same day. It was a decently priced van. It was very well outfitted. Solar was beautifully outfitted. But like every van I've been seeing, everything needed $5,000 to $15,000 of work, no matter how expensive it was, because everybody builds their van for them. And so the climates that I'm going to be in require that I have more airflow, more AC. So there was just like every van I found, there was basically $5,000 to $15,000 of work that needed to go into it, no matter how outfitted it was. And this van was the same thing, right? It was going to be another $5,000 to $10,000 of work to put on it. So it fell through, and I knew that. When I had gotten the nudge to request the checks, I had kind of had a sense that this van might not come through, similar to the first one, but that it was good for me to pursue it. And I had several of those experiences where I'm like, go pursue it, but don't be attached to it. Just pursue it. So then this other van came up, this beauty. Her name is Stars Align. We'll get into a little bit about why that is. I call her my star. She is. She's my star. She's my home. And, oh, thank you. I'm just feeling that energy flow through my left leg, my shin, the side of my legs. It just feels really good. I'm letting that settle in. So this van came through, and I kind of got the idea, oh, that's right, I have this random bank account at a national chain I forgot about. Let me call them up and see if I can deposit the cashier's check and same day turn it around and issue a new one. I had gotten a nudge not to deposit the checks here, but to take them with me, that it was really important that I not do it here. And it was partly timing. The bank had already closed for the day on Saturday. Okay. I need to backtrack. The checks were supposed to arrive Tuesday. So what I did is I basically I first talked to the person and said, if I can make this work, you game with this. And she's like, yes. So then I called the bank that I was going to deposit them into. Will you be able to deposit the check and turn it around immediately without it clearing? into another cashier's check, because it's a cashier's check. So they should be, thinking they should be able to. They said yes, and actually they can't. They asked what bank it was from. I told them, so they knew all the information. But that's what I did. I checked and they said yes. So I said, okay, great. And then I called my bank and said, okay, where are the cashier's checks? I know they're not supposed to be here till Tuesday. Well, this van was up in Denver, and if it had been Tuesday, that meant I wouldn't be able to leave until Wednesday. That would have been in the middle of a snowstorm. My work schedule was pretty hectic those 2 days. I had a lot of people booked for sessions after the new year. And so it would have been a really brutal trip. I would have been away from my daughter longer. She's expressed over the holidays she'd like me to not travel as much. So I'm honoring that. And I said, okay, I'd be happy to honor that. This is travel I need to do for taking care of the RV, for taking care of the van. But outside of that, I'm going to make them shorter trips. I'm going to stay home more. It's her last 6 months. Like, we can find a way to do this, girl. Like, we are in this together. I'm so proud of you for letting me know what you need. And anyways, I'm just being present with, I'm letting some dust swirl and settle right now. So just give me a second. It's my own mental track around what I share or don't share about other people and how I honor them. And so I'm pausing for a moment. And when this kind of stuff comes up, I use the Ho'oponopono prayer, and I don't pronounce that right. It's a Hawaiian prayer. And I'm feeling called to use it right now. So it's really simple. Please forgive me, or I'm sorry. I forgive you. I thank you. And I love you. And again, please do it with me if you're feeling called. And I have a lot of people who don't necessarily immediately feel the call, but once they do it, they feel better. So just give it a whirl. Give it a whirl, say the words with me and see what happens. There's some resistance here from someone that could really use this prayer, but is struggling to step into it. So I'm just going to circulate that energy and let it settle. This prayer is one of the most powerful ways to release second guessing, shame, worry, guilt, anything from your environment to be able to step into your fullness. It's a prayer of reconciliation with yourself and with the universe. It does both. That's why it's so powerful, right? You are recombining forces with yourself. You're saying, whatever needs to be forgiven for myself, I'm forgiving it. Whatever needs to be forgiven for those around me, I'm forgiving it, right? I'm going to say the word, I'm clearing karma, because that's really what it's doing. It's a radical act of forgiveness for yourself, for other people, that doesn't require retribution. It doesn't require anything other than a complete wash of any pain and any suffering sitting in that field. And when that suffering is gone, people stop inflicting suffering, because suffering is what causes people to inflict suffering. Their own suffering is what causes that. And so it is radical, and it is amazing. And it is like waterfalls washing through your field. And when I do that, I find that any anxiety, worry, guilt, any of that I'm experiencing just fades into the background. And so every time something comes up, like a feeling of conflict or tension, if I feel called to say this prayer, I say it, which means quite frequently this is the simplest way. Sometimes I got to go a little deeper into the program or what's going on, or do some upgrades, but more often than not, this is more than sufficient to clear that energy from my field, so I can continue to move with flow and ease through life. And so I'm going to do it again, and I ask you to join me. I'm sorry. There we go. Feel some tears coming up. That's beautiful. You're clearing that from your field. I forgive you. I thank you. And I love you. There we go. I'm getting to do it again. And this time, please forgive me. I forgive you. I love you. I Thank you. And if any one of those phrases or mantras settle with you a little deeper, feel free to sit with it or repeat it several times. Sometimes it's just a part of the prayer that I need to really focus on. Maybe gratitude is the most important thing for me to really step into right now. So maybe I'm just saying the I thank you part 4 or 5 times, settling in that energy. I want to give a shout out to Morgan Whiter, author of The Worthy Wardrobe, friend of mine, speaker, amazing worthiness coach that focuses on how do you channel, discover on, really take that inner worthiness and let it shine outward in your wardrobe and your, how you show up in the world physically. So love the work that she does. It's about helping you really find a style that reflects your inner self. And then through the process, you kind of uncover some of the things that maybe are causing you to hide or to wear clothes that aren't attractive on you or whatever that is. She's just amazing, amazing human. But she's the first person who taught me this prayer. And I used it more in mirror work at first. So just putting it on my mirror every morning and saying it a couple times a day. And then my coach brought it back into my world in a more strong way. I was using it with clients, but more in that mirror work way. And it was my coach, Yannicka, who said, actually, if you use it in the moment to clear that tension in the air, it can be incredibly powerful. And so I kind of incorporated it to a whole different level in my life. And I have seen the results in my clients. I have seen how just simply saying this prayer in the moment can bring things up and out that need to be worked through or surfaced and just cleansed in such an easeful way. It's a game changer. So thank you for letting me take that detour to share that. So now that is shifted, let's go back to this beautiful story of the van. My energy's feeling a lot more settled. So we got in the car and we drove. So the checks, they were supposed to deliver on Tuesday. Snowstorm would have gotten in the way. I just kept hearing, trust the universe, right? Trust God, trust the divine, whatever, again, your definition is of that. Trust yourself. You are in alignment. It's being taken care of. And so I called them up to see when the checks were going to arrive. And they said, they're actually out for delivery now. They'll be there between 9 and 1. I called at 8:30 a.m. on a Saturday. So amazingly, they showed up, signature delivery, right? I started packing, basically. I'm like, we can do this. So I reached out and said, does this timing work? Yes. I said, great. I'm making the 2-day drive. Can you confirm that I'll have first right of refusal, right? Yes. Okay, great. So I can at least see it. And if I want it, and we can make it happen on the spot. So drove up, got there, everything went beautifully. And then, got to the payment part, right? I stepped in the van and, actually I want to backtrack. When I was on the way up to get the van, I was using that language I love to use, which is whatever is meant to be will be, right? I'm following my alignment. I am doing what I'm being called to do, and it will all work out. But I was feeling a constriction when I said that. Like, okay, this flowy language, which had served me, by the way, guys, so much in getting to this point in my journey, was not appropriate for this moment. So I had a large man come into my energy field. I get visions of different constructs and different guides and sometimes they're just stories. My body and intuition and higher self are telling me stories through the images I get. It doesn't actually matter if they're real or not, because it is real. It's my intuition and the way I'm working with the world. So it doesn't matter if it's a metaphor or an idea or an actual thing. And that's one thing I want to really reinforce in this world. It does not matter if it's a real spirit or if it's a metaphor. It's the same thing. It's energy showing up to you in a way that you can understand it. So the more that you embrace that, this is just about me having an experience and getting information in a way that I can understand it, you'll open up so many doors. And so I had this man come in with his big staff, and he kind of looked like a warrior. Like he had a very, very beautiful, like tan, dark skin. He was a warrior. Just it kind of had that indigenous, beautiful quality to it. And he pounded his staff on the ground, and he said, stake your claim. This is your van and you know it. Oh, chills, guys. I had a moment where I realized, okay, I have stepped into so much of a state of being, and there is a time and a space for ownership, for claiming, for force, for all of these masculine energies that I had, mastered over the years, right? There's a time and a place to step in and just own it. And this was that moment. I was so grateful to him. I was like, thank you for coming into my field and reminding me that there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. Love that song. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to sow, a time to, anyway, reap, a time to breathe under heaven. Sorry. No, sorry, not sorry. I love jumping into song randomly, and for anyone who doesn't know that about me yet, now you know. I do this in my sessions too. If you ever attend a workshop of mine, I randomly burst into song, usually, in many of the sessions. So this last week, I randomly jumped into singing a Little Mermaid thing. So it's totally random what comes up, but it always has meaning, if that makes sense. There's always some madness and meaning to it. So I did. I recognized that this was my van, and all of a sudden I could feel the van. I had felt it in my field. I'd felt her in my field, felt my star. But now we were able to interact directly. I could see her spirit. I could feel her spirit. I could work with her. So it was like the click went into place. And I realized that the only thing standing between us at that point was me choosing that is what I wanted. And it was such a beautiful moment. And so we worked together energetically as I was driving up. I got her name, Stars Align, and I realized that not only was that indicative of how she came to me, right, the stars aligned, but also it was indicative of what she was going to help me do, right? She is her own energetic being. Remember that every creation under heaven has energy. That includes the creations that we make. So man-made stuff has energy. So if you're fighting with your laptop, remember that is an energetic being as well. I had this with a coach of mine that I was helping. We ended up doing some supporting of each other after a while, and she was so mad at her technology. And I said, I think you need to start like loving your tech. Like literally taking the time to say, I love you, thank you every morning. What do you need from me? Like just change the relationship, the dynamic, because when we're frustrated with something, it shuts down, right? And that is a natural reaction. And it's basically, we're manifesting that in that energetic relationship. So homes, electronics, things, they all store energy. And so it's important to recognize that. So like my diesel heater's not working, but I know that it's because I'm being called to get to know how my van works inside and out, how my star works, right? And so I am being called to get to know that. And part of that means dealing with things that are not working 100% according to plan, so that I can learn to fix them. I can learn to troubleshoot. I may have to get mechanical support, but I'm going to get somebody who's a mobile mechanic who can actually help me dive in and teach me how to troubleshoot if I'm, for whatever reason, unable to fix it, so that it can strengthen the relationship and my feelings of self-reliance on the road. So all of this is perfectly fine. Like I'm not living in it full time yet. This is the perfect time to get to know it. So if things break down for me right now, I actually know it's by design, so that I understand how my van works inside and out before I hit the road full time. And so now I'm grateful. I'm grateful that this happened, and I'm confident it's going to get fixed. And that it's not going to be a problem, and that however it gets fixed is not a big deal, but that my process of troubleshooting, of playing with it, of, pulling parts out, looking at things is really going to be good for me and my relationship with my star. So anyways, I got the sense that she's going to go into markets and she's going to help me align stars. She's going to be out there in the world working with different energy to get things in line so that I can have the impact that I want to have in the world and show up the way I want to show up in the world. So she's an ally, a partner. She's more than just a home. She's a friend. And I felt that energy. So her name came to me, everything came. So when I saw her, I already knew we were meant to be. And the pricing was such that I knew even if there was issues with it, it's not a big deal. There's bud room in the budget. That was just the beautiful gift. Thank you, universe, that the pricing was such that I didn't have to worry. It really did take so much pressure off. So now I can do whatever I want with her, right? And still have room for my daughter and I to have kind of wrap up the last phase of this chapter of our lives and embark on the next one. So great. Love it. Got there. Got to the bank, the solution that we came up with, they wouldn't accept. So we figured out another one. And this is where I just really want to say, like, the message that I got this whole trip was that it was all about trust. Learning when to trust the universe, the divine. Learning to trust my own discernment on what to align to within that. And recognizing when to take some of these big, bold, like when these solutions land in my lap and I'm like, oh, that's a really aligned solution. I'm going to go after it regardless of what label the world would put on it. So I'm not going to talk about the details because that's, it's not necessary. But I had a series of different experiences along my drive that were all about letting go, letting things come up, and then trusting that the right solution was going to come to me. And it did. And it did even when I was in consternation or frustrated or whatever. I was able to kind of step back into it. I was able to, remain present. And I was able to see that when the solution came into my field, oh, this is a good one. And shift my energy like that. Follow it. Recognize when that solution was good, even if it was untraditional. Even if the world would put a label on that solution, I didn't need to, because I was present in that moment with those people, with the universal source energy, and I recognized when a solution was in alignment and when it was not. And so that is the biggest thing that I learned over this last experience. And now here I am with my home. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I just feel waves of energy. Trust is not about, like, it's not about gullible trust. It's about knowing fundamentally when the solution being presented to you is in alignment with your direction, your path, and therefore it will work out. And knowing when it's no longer in alignment and a different path is in order. That's where our discernment can really step in. And sometimes that comes through in logical things, right? Okay, here's logical ways that you can protect yourself. And sometimes we have to set down those logical ways to be able to embrace the fundamental belief that we are going to be okay. And guess what? I was okay. Everything flowed beautifully. Record time. We took care of each other. I now have a new friend, by the way. Hi, friend. In Colorado. And our relationship is so much more than transacting a van. It's so much deeper. There's so much more potential for us together. And I'm so honored that through this process, so many doors opened, not just regarding my home and this van, but regarding my future, partnerships, collaborations, business, support. Yeah, I can't even begin. We were both, unknowingly, we were both manifesting it. And then when we met each other, we're like, oh, we were both on the other end manifesting. I was manifesting the perfect van. She was manifesting the perfect buyer. And we came together. The reason I found this van is because I got a message, log run right now to your Facebook groups. There's a specific Facebook group where there is a listing and you need to see it. And that's how I found it. Otherwise, I never would have found this van. The way I was working through filters and the way I was working on the platforms I was looking at, it would have escaped my notice. That's why I didn't see it, even though it'd been on the market for a bit. But every transaction I had before was preparing me for this moment. This moment could not have been so elegantly executed had I not had those other experiences first. I had to be decisive. I had to trust. I had to know. I had to be in alignment with my knowing. And she felt the same way. Every buyer that fell through was preparing her for this moment. So yes, it didn't sell for her immediately. And yes, I didn't buy the first van I found, but that was still a beautiful process of manifestation because we were being prepared for each other so that when this moment came, we knew exactly what to do. We were willing to take the bets on each other. And what we co-created together was beautiful. So this week, just really explore what trust feels like and looks like to you. How can you trust just a little deeper? How can you sink a little bit deeper into that? And trust, again, does not mean blindly, gullibly following any possibility. I mean, I'm a former business coach. I understand how to protect yourself from situations that may not work out, right? I've seen them both as a coach and as a human. But during that process, I think I lost the ability to know when is it a time to set all that aside and trust that it's all going to work out. There are times. And when I received the message on the way up that I was going to be called into a state of trust, that was a growth edge for me. And that's the big thing I want to remind you guys. When you are connected to your own intuition, you get heads ups. Things aren't as shocking or surprising. And so it doesn't feel, the growth edges don't feel so hard because you're kind of at some level aware of what's going on, even if you aren't aware of all the details of how it's unfolding. That's part of the adventure, right? And I don't know if I'd want to be aware of all the details because the adventure keeps it fun and spicy. But really, you start to understand that I'm in this moment because I am learning trust. And so therefore, I can ask myself, am I showing up in a state of trust right now? Is the level of protection I'm giving myself because part of me knows this is not aligned? Then yes, protect myself, right? Or maybe go a different path. Or is this actually, like, am I being called to like set more of these boundaries in place? Or is this actually a moment where I'm being asked to step into trust? Both can exist. There is a time and a season for every activity under heaven. So if you are in a situation this week where you're asking yourself, what am I being asked to flex right now? That will tell you if you're meant to be. I have clients I work with who really need to set more boundaries, if that makes sense, and better boundaries where they are taken advantage of because the way they're giving, it's out of guilt or it's out of obligation or out of a sense that they're supposed to or whatever, or maybe a little blind. I'm not going to say blind faith, but it is kind of where it's not necessarily backed by alignment, but by just a feeling in the moment I don't even want to say a feeling. That's not it. An impulse in the moment that's not deeply aligned, right? So there's this that you might be asked to flex, or if you tend to more on the control side right now, maybe you're being asked to step into trust like I am. Similarly, are you being asked to step into flow and letting things go more, or are you being asked to stake your claim? All of these things have a place. So whenever you're going through this evolution, instead of looking at it as an either or, just ask yourself, in this moment, where am I being asked to flex my growth edge? And then follow it. Follow what you know to be true. And then let the magic unfold around you. So I want to close with what I'm seeing, which is a bunch of golden dust and stars coming alongside my head. And let's just take a moment to receive all that. There's just a lot I feel coming down right now. Gifts. Stars are often, just think of them as energetic gifts. They can be pieces of ourselves, pieces of source energy, other ancestors. It's a way to think of how do I absorb more energy, and it's a way that's super easy to translate for our brain and our conscious mind. So just let yourself receive those stars. Let them soak into your being. Somebody's throat is being cleared right now. Let that happen. For some people, the star is going into the heart space. Let it fill you up. Let it warm you up. Let it soften you up. You know what is aligned. So follow the path and trust that the next step will reveal itself when it needs to. And trust that you will know how you need to be in that moment to embrace it, to claim it, to own it, to love it, to forgive it, to cleanse it, to circulate it, All these words I'm repeating because each one of you is having a different energetic experience right now. So whatever words resonated with you, let them. They're working energy within you, around you, because you chose to allow it. So thank you. Thank you for opening up your heart, your energy field, to be with me this morning. Because when you share in this experience, your own experiences are being amplified, healed, upgraded. And I'm sitting around this beautiful fire in the 36 degrees weather, and you're right there next to me warming your hands by the fire. Oh, thank you. And we're going to close with a prayer one more time. And this time, I'm looking at you. I'm sorry for everything you've ever experienced, for every hurt that was ever inflicted on you. I'm sorry. I forgive you for everything that you feel like you need forgiveness for, deep down inside. I thank you for everything that you are, for every piece of light that you've given to the world, for every time you have shown up so beautifully with your own light shining, for every act of courage you've taken, for every moment you have been fully present to this experience, for all the things you've done for people that you didn't even realize you've done. Thank you for being you. And yes, I love you. All of you. The biggest version of you that you could ever imagine existed, and then beyond that, I love all of it. Every ounce of energy flowing through your veins, including the parts that might not always be easy for you to love. I love them all. I love you. Thank you. It is done.